Welcome to Unfiltered Summit Sisters. I'm Gina.
And I'm Julia.
We are two ride-or-die best friends who are paving the path for what true, authentic relationships look like.
We're facing hardships head-on, having real, uncensored conversations, supporting each other's growth, and shining a light on true, raw healing.
We are navigating the world the best we know how.
Having a hell of a time doing it.
Laughing every step of the way.
Through the rain
and sunshine.
This is Canyon Culture. Welcome back to Unfiltered Summit Sisters. We are sitting in the cutest spot in the canyon.
So cute.
Somebody got married here.
Yeah, there's like fake rose petals and everything.
There's these little twinkly lights behind us. You may not be able to see them super well because it's not dark.
We'll have to come back.
But you have a picture that we can post to show them. There's these they have these little tree stumps that people made for an aisle or sat on. I don't know. It's so cute.
It's so cute. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get married here. Perfect.
It's adorable.
I don't have a spouse, but I'm going to get married here.
But we're ready.
But we're set up and ready to go. So Gerald, as soon as you're ready.
I like how we left the picture up. These are our friends.
That's George and Brittany.
They got married here.
Apparently. It's so cute though.
It is so cute.
If I'm gonna get married in the winter time and I want to be in the woods, this is a cute way of doing it.
I'm not getting married in the winter.
No.
No.
But if I had to, if someone's making me, I'm not doing it still. It's fine.
Today we wanted to talk about forgiving our exes, which I think is a little bit of a heavier subject.
Very much.
And I think it's really important for us to address because we do have a lot of dark humor.
Yeah.
We are sarcastic a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I want to ensure that it doesn't sound like we're just coming on a podcast and bitching about our exes.
Right.
Because that's not the goal. That's not where our hearts are. We do use dark humor to cope and to get through things. But at the end of the day, we want to be really clear about where we stand with our exes and how we choose to forgive them and how we choose to heal.
Well, it is a part of our healing journey. That's the thing is it's such an important part. So the fact that we haven't talked about it yet, I'm bummed about because it's a choice we have to make every day.
Yes.
But I think that I give myself grace for it because I'm still healing from a lot of it.
Yes. And it ebbs and flows.
It does. Yeah.
It ebbs and flows. So, I think that one of the hardest parts for me is one of the hardest parts for me to be able to forgive is that there's still ongoing abuse, even though he's long gone, right?
That is the hardest thing because there's so much about my past, my marriage that I have forgiven, moved on, going, I have to heal from the damage of the actions that were made. But as far as just forgiving the person for doing it, I've done that, I feel.
Yes.
But it's the continual having to deal with issues that make it hard or showcase that there is still some form of abuse going on. That's one that I'm like, God, I don't know how to do this. That is it's been such a tricky thing for me to figure out how to continue to have that peace.
Yes. I would say it is a process to learn how to forgive things that have happened in the past, dark things, really yucky things that are really hard and dark. I feel like it is a whole nother ball game to have to continue to wake up and choose to forgive. When for me and my kids, child support adds up every single month, right? You don't care that they have food. You don't care if they have a house over their head. Right. You haven't spoken to them in any form in over 2 years.
Let's go over really quick just what it is, your scenario, because I think it's been a while since we've gone over our scenario and people may not have listened to the episodes where we kind of just no details, just like, so your ex is not in the picture. He's not in the picture. How long has it been since he's spoken to you?
There's not been a single text, call, card, birthday present, nothing at all in over 2 years.
Okay.
I'm owed well over 6 digits in child support. And so that's hard. That's the ongoing stuff that is harder for me to forgive.
So my ex lives in Texas with his wife and their family. And for me, it's just a lot of how to work the co-parenting with distance, how to work co-parenting when we don't have the same views or when he's not here. Like the fact that I just, Thomas busted his head open and I have to tell him about this. Like I have to remember to do those things. I forget. But yeah, my situation is just my kid's dad isn't super present a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when he is, it's a couple minute phone call, right? So we have to the hurt that we have to deal with is a lot of the kids not feeling wanted, and then just the difficulty. We've gone to court several times because we don't agree on things, and that's just
Right.
so much. And so there's a lot of, it's just trickier because I have to interact with him,
Right.
and that's tricky.
Yeah.
With a narcissist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that the only way to be able to forgive these men who have done really horrible things is through my relationship with God and my faith with him, because I don't know how I'm supposed to forgive that.
When I go see the functional medicine doctor and I'm struggling with stuff with my ex, he reminds me every day to send my ex Christ's love. I don't get to decide who Christ loves. That's not my job. But I can do that, and that puts my heart in a sensitive space. And so I started there. That's where I started, and it's been years that he's asked me to do that. He's like, send him Christ's love, and I will kick and scream. But now I do my best when I kneel in prayer with my kids to make sure they hear me say that too, because I want their relationship with their dad to be whatever it is that they develop. I don't want my feelings, my views, my hurt to project onto them.
Right.
I want their relationship with their dad to be whatever it is because of the two of them. I don't want to be involved. So by me doing that with them, they're present saying, Christ, send my ex Christ's love. It was a good start.
I think it's important to note that forgiveness is a choice, not a feeling.
And it's something that I am learning I have to choose every day.
Yes. That you will have to choose over and over and over again. It's not a one-time thing or a two-time thing. It is a choice you will have to make over and over and over. And the only way that I am able to do that is by God's grace and his power in my life.
Yeah. This has been a topic that I have been actively working on for years. In our church, we have a lot of, there's a lot of different opportunities for leaders in our church to speak to the public, and it's sometimes super formal, like something called General Conference, which is broadcasted worldwide twice a year. And there's other times there's just conferences at the college BYU, or it doesn't, like there's just now with media, there's 1,000 ways that these leaders are speaking to us. So there's so many talks and what would people call maybe sermons about the topic. And so this has been a conversation I've had with friends, and they have shared with me different talks and different articles that some of our leaders have written. And so I have kind of dived deep into this topic because it takes my peace. Anytime I interact with my ex and it doesn't go well, it takes my peace, and I'm upset and I'm hurting, and I don't want to live like that anymore.
Right.
I work really hard for peace and joy in my life. And it wasn't until recently that I was like, I want to be unfazed when I have to work with him and it doesn't go well. I want to be unfazed. And I don't want to, I'm not by ignoring the situation.
Right.
But by coming from a place of love, which sounds really weird and hard, but that's what it is. So, there was a talk that I listened to, and the talk is called Why We Forgive. And it was an intense talk. And I have listened to it several times. I've taken notes on it and I've prayed on it. And it was interesting because at the very end of the talk, he quoted Christ when Christ was on the cross. And he said, he's talking about the people who are murdering him. And he said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And I had never applied that to my ex. And it hit me. I'm driving and I was like, good thing I'm almost done driving because that was intense.
Yeah.
But for me to then look at my ex and go, he doesn't know how much he's hurting us.
Right.
And not that gives him a pass, but it's not my job to judge him.
Right.
It is not my job to seek vengeance. It's not my job to do anything other than forgive him. So that concept was super helpful for me to be able to go, he doesn't know.
Right.
Which, again, I listened to the talk again, led to the next thought, which was he's doing the best that he can.
Right.
And even though that hurts us, even though that makes our lives harder and it's difficult for me and it's difficult for the kids, he is doing the best that he can. And I'm grateful that the best that he can does have him in Texas. and
Right.
kind of leaving us alone a bit so that we can go about our lives in a way that has more peace, because the kids don't have to do the split household thing,
Right.
which I think is hard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love any divorce scenario, but having the kids go one weekend here, like just bouncing around, just feels so unsettled. And so, like, how do you plant roots?
Right.
And so I feel like they get to have roots and they get to have
Mm.
normal, and I'm grateful that they get to have that life, but they don't really have a relationship with their dad, which has consequences, right?
Yes.
But the best that he can do is that, and I think that works best for us. And so I
Mm-hmm.
am grateful for that. And I mean, this is all in the last couple months that I've really turned a corner with this,
Mm-hmm.
and just this idea of being unfazed, and not a mean way.
Right.
And it's interesting because I had a interaction with my ex just earlier, and it was interesting how my heart has already been super softened to him. Again, not that I want to go out to dinner with him or spend time with him,
Right.
or am okay with the choices that he currently is making. But I love that I'm at peace, and that Christ already paid for all of this through the atonement.
Right.
Him on the cross, him in Gethsemane, he has already paid for all of this pain. So for me holding on to it is me not taking advantage of this amazing gift that he gave me.
Right.
So that aspect right there, the fact that it's for a selfish reason, it takes my peace, and I deserve peace, and that Christ already paid for it. And by me holding on and me not forgiving, I am not.
You're living in chains, because he didn't just die in order for us to be able to go to heaven. He also died so that we could have the freedom right now in this life, but we choose to hold on to these chains that keep us bound. And he's going, I gave you all this freedom.
Yeah.
Use it.
You can have so much more.
Yes.
And so the fact that I love Jesus, and I love that he died for me by not choosing to forgive, feels like a little bit of a slap in the face.
Right.
You know, it's like, hey, I'm really glad you did this for me, but I'm not going to let the gift that you gave me, I'm not going to use it.
Right.
I'm just going to let it sit over there in the corner. So all of those things have really changed. So this week, the kids were talking to their dad, and we had to jump off the phone because everything came crashing down.
Weird.
Phone calls and people dropping off stuff, and I needed to get Russell somewhere, just like everything in like a 10-minute period. Just, I was like, I got to get off the phone. I got to go. And the next morning, actually, like, and I was like, I should text him and apologize. And that was huge for me.
Right.
That was huge. And I did. And I was like, I'm really sorry about that. That wasn't, I'll have them call you. And he texts back, and he said, thank you. And then he's like, can we set it? He's like, I didn't hear from the kids because I forgot the next day. That was my bad to have the kids call him again. But December's busy.
I know.
December's so busy. And he's like, I never heard from the kids, and I apologize again. I was like, I'm sorry, it's really busy. And he also asked to set up a time on Christmas. And I had just said, I'm so sorry, December's busy, apologizing. And he's like, so are we not setting up a time? Like, no, you're not going to set up a time Christmas. And instead of me getting irritated, what I normally would, I was like, no, we will absolutely set up a time. I just don't know what we're doing. Like, I feel the change in my heart towards him, towards the situation. I still don't love it. Right. But I don't have to, I get to be, I don't know. It was just really nice to interact with him and not be like, ugh, or not feel the need to text you because I need to vent about how stupid I felt or how dumb I hate dealing with, because divorce sucks no matter what. Right. I'm so glad to not be married, but divorce sucks.
Yes.
And it was just so pleasant. That peace came that I've been working for. So I got like my little first victory of this year-long struggle.
Yeah.
But I literally choose it every day in prayer. I rededicate myself to Christ, and I say, take all this slime that came from this man that hurt me, send him Christ's love, and today I choose to forgive him. And I say it out loud, and I say it anyway. Do it. Like, those practices have changed my heart, and I'm so grateful for it.
I love it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, and it speaks to just the power of God. Right? Because we're looking at the physical and going, how can you ask anyone to forgive these things? Right. And God's like, I got this. Trust me.
Yeah.
My journey with forgiving has, I'm going to try to describe it. Like I said, forgiveness is a choice, not a feeling.
Yeah.
So I started out by literally just saying it every day. And so whenever I would have my time with God, no matter what it was about, at the very end, I would end it with just, I choose to forgive him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started doing it in my journaling. So whatever it didn't matter what I journaled about, it didn't go together at all.
Yeah.
But at the very end, I would write down, I choose to forgive him.
Good.
And do it over and over. And so I was making a choice that I did not feel at all. Let me be clear. There was no feeling of,
Yeah.
It was a choice every single day. And that it's funny how God took that and softened my heart to compassion for him.
Yeah.
Right? Because my kid's dad is not in the picture at all. He is missing all of these babies growing up.
And they're amazing kids. Amazing
they're
kids.
amazing. And getting to see them grow up and getting them, when they change from little kids into bigger kids and their personalities
They're
and
losing
likes
teeth?
and dislikes. And yeah, I've got one who just lost his
Your
first tooth
baby.
and another one looking at college. Like,
Your baby just lost his first tooth.
he's missing all of it.
It's so, because this is my thing too. You guys came into my life. You
Mhm.
weren't born into my life. And I feel so honored to get to be a part of
Yes.
your kid's life. Honored.
Yes.
And he is missing out on some of the most incredible people I've
He's
ever met.
missing out on all of that. And so
Yeah.
I can't imagine just the turmoil in his own mind and his own body and everything.
Yeah.
So much so that he has zero contact with 6 children that he had. And that God turned that choice to forgive into compassion for him. Of that sounds miserable.
Yeah.
That
Whether he
sounds
feels
horrible.
it now or later, that day is going to be really dark for him. And
it's years that he's never going to get back.
Yeah.
Right. And that's really difficult. Another really difficult part of this process is teaching my kids, showing them how to forgive, because a lot of them, most of them, are really angry at him.
Yeah.
The youngest doesn't even remember him.
Right.
Everybody else is really angry with him, and I get it. And their feelings
Right.
are so valid, right? They're also really young and really immature, and so they're going, we're really angry, and he doesn't deserve forgiveness.
Well, we also put a big effort into making sure we have good men in our life, and so as wonderful as that is, they're also getting to see these dads show up for their kids.
And that's hard when they're seeing these families together, and they're seeing, we do have an amazing community, and these men are, showing up for my kids. They're coming to plays and ballet recitals,
right.
And so my kids are going,
up,
so why is dad not?
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword, right? It's a blessing, but it's also, they get to see what an actual dad does.
Yes.
Where out of sight, out of mind, they may not have been like, oh yeah, dad's not here, but that's just how it normally is. But they're surrounded by dad showing up.
Right.
But luckily they are showing up for them too.
Yes. Yeah. And so teaching
hard.
them how to walk that and how to forgive. And honestly, you all you can do is show them.
Mm-hmm.
All you can do is be an example for them, because they are going to have to walk that road on their own. Ultimately, I can help them, I can be there for them, but they will have to make the choice to forgive. They will have to make the choice to let go of the anger.
Mm-hmm.
They will have to walk their own journeys with it, each of them.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite things that we do is, as you and I heal and learn, that we make sure that we appropriately project that with our kids. We include them in part of that, so that our healing, one, breaks the cycle.
Yes.
But two, gets them to, because as you and I are learning things in our 30s, we're teaching our kids that before they're 16.
Yes.
So they're learning how to forgive on a big level. They are learning how to be kind and generous on a big level, because we are in a space that we showcase. And we just shine a light on a lot of the things. And we, like I said, appropriately include them in, this is what I'm working on right now. This is really hard for me. This is what I'm doing. And this is how I'm achieving these things.
Yes.
And growing closer to God and showing them. And I just think that that's something that I'm so grateful that we both do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think even though our kids have, their hardships are bigger than their little bodies deserve.
Right.
They're going to have a blessing of a lot of life lessons early.
Yes.
And I'm proud of them for taking that on. Mm-hmm. I think they listen, and then it's like the joke we always have, we're teaching them about gaslighting, right? Like, we're like, hey, we're learning about gaslighting. Let's teach our kids.
Yes.
And then they're running around like, hey, he's gaslighting me, right? Like, it's a joke and it's funny, but the fact that they know what it is, recognize what it is early on, means they're going to recognize it in future partners and recognize it in themselves so they can avoid it. And I think that that's, we're on our way of helping mold some pretty amazing humans.
I think so too. And so what I tell my kids is that your dad loves you very much. He loves all of you very much. But he is so unhealthy and dysfunctional to himself that he can't even take care of himself right now. And I know that doesn't make it feel better.
Yeah.
I know that doesn't make any of your feelings go away, but he does love you underneath it all.
I think that's a helpful message, because I think that a lot of kids could take that and they're not valuable.
Right.
And so to make
And
sure that they
I do not want my kids questioning their worth or their value in this world.
Why it's a super fun place to be. I am loving it. But that's the thing. I'm learning that about myself. And so I'm trying to find ways to make sure my kids don't feel devalued. So the fact that you are doing that with your kids, letting them know that you are still loved, you are still amazing. Him not being here has nothing to do with you is such an important lesson for these kids to learn, and just going to build their foundation really strong.
And so my journey has gone from choosing to forgive when I have zero negative feelings on that, right? Angry feelings.
Aggression.
Yes. Choosing to forgive, and God took that and turned it into compassion.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. I like that one.
Which only he can do. That was none of my own doing.
It's my next one to achieve now. Is now compassion, because I don't have that one.
And then he took that and turned that into praying for him. And so that my prayer for my ex, and I think this is a really good kind of bringing everything to a close spot. My prayer for my ex is that God would get a hold of him and make him healthy and whole, and that if he is going to hear God and he's going to respond and he is going to be healthy and whole and he's going to pay child support and he's going to be a good man, that he would be back in the kids' lives, because ultimately that is their dad, no matter what.
Yeah. That's an intense prayer.
It is. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I pray that all the time or every day. I still have plenty of days where I am angry as hell, guys. Yeah. So angry. But I've come a really long way in my journey. And so I think it was really important for us to address this on the podcast.
But I love that we both come to a peaceful place. I think that's really incredible for both of us to have come there. Yep. And but I do love that we're touching the point that this has been laborious, like that we did. Absolutely. This wasn't an overnight thing. We have been working years.
And there are times where I feel like I've gone backwards. I don't think that's true. I think that's the enemy getting in my head. And I kind of just go back to step one. I choose to forgive him. Yeah. I choose to forgive him.
Because like you said, it's a choice every day. And sometimes things trigger things. And so, and my favorite thing is that God is not looking for perfection. He's looking for effort, and he knows our heart.
Right.
And he loves our intention. So if some days all I can do is send him Christ's love, and that's all I've got that day, I feel like he fills in the rest.
Absolutely.
And there's other days where I am full on telling him I'm sorry and thank you for this, that, and the other thing, and meaning it.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think either one of them are bad or wrong. I think they're just what I've got that day.
Yes. And I think God is happy and pleased with both.
He's high-fiving us right now. He is so proud of us right now. I am so grateful that I took on this challenge. I'm so grateful that God gave me this gift. It's a gift because it's not something that I created myself to heal and grow. The fire I have to heal and grow is coming from outside of my body, because 3 years ago, Gina, if someone said, you're going to forgive your ex, I'd be like, you're funny. But I'm grateful that I put the work in, and I do the hard work, and I feel the big feelings. And I'm so grateful that I have God with me every day. And the days that I feel alone is because I'm choosing not to look for him. And he is always there for me, because none of this is possible without him.
Right.
And I'm grateful that I have him in my day-to-day life, and that he is my eternal companion.
I love that. It's going to sound so weird. I'm grateful that I have you who's walked through the same thing. Not that I'm grateful you walked through it. I'm just grateful I didn't do it alone. I don't know.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
We wouldn't wish this on people, but not having to do it by ourselves is huge, which is why you and I are doing this podcast.
Yes. It reminds me of that verse that says iron sharpens iron.
Okay.
In the Bible somewhere. I think it might be in Proverbs. Iron sharpens iron. And so there are days where I am bitching and complaining and about my ex, right? And then there are times where you're talking about the healing and growth that you've done in forgiving your ex, and it kind of pulls my head out of my butt a little bit, and I'm like, okay, let's go. It's time to level up. We're not doing this. This is not who we are. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for you.
I don't think that's weird at all. Okay, I think this was a really good topic, and I think that we should continue to talk about it.
Yes, I think it'll be it'll change.
It will change, and I hope it does, because I want to keep improving.
Right.
But I'm going to take away something from yours. Like, I want to do better at teaching my kids. You always do that. You always remind me to bring it back to my kids. So,
okay. Till next time. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Unfiltered Summit Sisters.
come join us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to get a sneak peek into our lives.
It's beautiful, chaotic, crazy, and fun.
What else would you expect raising 10 kids?
All the links you need are in the show notes.
See you next week.